It's Bryce Dallas Howard here, guest hosting today on TED Talks Daily. Here's a talk from the TED Fellows community, given by
super genius
Khalil
Truex,
who is
talking about the once famous Hollywood actress Shelley Duvall and her life with mental illness.
Hello, my name is Dr. Leo Truex, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Today we'll be discussing Shelley Duvall. Shelley grew up having a pretty normal childhood. She was born in Fort Worth on July 7th, 1949. Her parents were Bob and Bobby Duvall. She had 3 siblings who were all boys. They started out in Fort Worth and then moved to Houston. Her dad was a cattle auctioneer who became a criminal lawyer later on, and her mom was a real estate agent. So it was all kind of just normal, run-of-the-mill life. Shelley Duvall started her acting career in the 1970s. She was a part of various projects and started to get awards and continue to work with more and more directors, but it wasn't until the 1980s until she started to become a lead actress. She got the role of Olive Oil in Altman's Popeye, starring alongside Robin Williams, and then went on to play Wendy Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Her final film was in 2002, Manna from Heaven. After that, she stopped acting, and she stopped producing as well. She also kind of just completely secluded from all Hollywood. Shelley Duvall starred as Wendy Torrance in what is now the cult classic The Shining. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick, and alongside Shelley, she starred with Jack Nicholson. This whole movie was a lot for Shelley. That's just like saying it in the bare minimum. Stanley Kubrick was kind of like a method director. He wanted it all to feel very real for the actors so that he could get the best performances out of them. So in that, he would isolate Shelley. He would be constantly changing the script and making it really difficult because he just saw it as like ever changing and ever flowing. And it was a psychological horror, and it felt like a psychological horror on the set. Shelley even reported going to Kubrick with clumps of her hair that had fallen out because of extreme stress from filming. But Shelley was so eager to make it as a star that she would just kind of like dismiss that and be like, it was terrible for her, and she'd kept that inside, and she was always just like, but other people I'm sure are enjoying it, they're enjoying the performance, so it has to be good. It can't be like a bad thing, even though it was really, really taxing and overall had a long-term effect on her health. On top of all of the hard work and torture that Shelley went through to be a part of The Shining, it kind of wasn't worth it in the beginning because critics did not like her performance and even had the audacity to give her a Golden Raspberry, which is kind of like a mock award. It's basically like an award for the worst performance, which I'm sure was absolutely devastating after she had worked so hard and went through so much to get this role and to kind of go through all of this. It must have just been crushing. Shelley got married to an artist named Bernard Sampson in 1970. However, as Shelley's career took off, her marriage did not, and they got divorced in 1974. Duvall then met singer-songwriter Paul Simon in 1976. They had a pretty long relationship. It was about 2 years they lived together. However, it ended when Shelley introduced Simon to her friend, actress Carrie Fisher. And because Carrie Fisher and Simon started to date. So, yeah. Although Shelley retired in 2016, November, the popular daytime talk show Dr. Phil reached out wanting to have an interview with her. Dr. Phil, also known as Phil McGraw, although Shelley had retired in November 2016, she agreed to go on to Phil McGraw's daytime talk show, Dr. Phil. This segment received a lot of negative criticism from the public, even getting mentions from Vivian Kubrick, who is the daughter of Stanley Kubrick, calling out Dr. Phil for basically exploiting Shelley Duvall's clearly not stable sense of mind, and basically just for the sake of entertainment. It was really disgusting to watch. Shelley mentioned that she believed her co-star in Popeye, Robin Williams, was still alive and was, quote, shape-shifting. And Dr. Phil just continued to, like, drag it out of her and keep her talking, and it was really, really sad to see. And it was the beginning of speculations that Shelley has mental illness. Shelley has now been in a relationship with musician and former Breakfast Club lead vocalist Dan Gilroy since 1989. And they live together on Shelley's estate in Texas. In February 2021, Seth Abramovich, a writer for The Hollywood Reporter, was able to locate Shelley Duvall and wanted to interview her. He did not want what had happened on Dr. Phil to be the last remnants of Shelley's career and be the last kind of thing that we see. He wanted to know that it was a happy story and wouldn't end on such a sad note. And he was able to talk to her and get to know a more personal side of her and see that what was shown on Dr. Phil was a very low point for her. Still kind of unknown exactly. She did not come out saying anything about any diagnosis of what kind of mental illness she had, but she did state that she was suffering from mental illness. But in this interview, she was much more coherent and was able to talk and discuss things from her past, from her career. It was very grateful to have that, and was again very upset with what happened with Dr. Phil, and said it was a very dark memory for her, and it, as well as being on set with The Shining, was also a very, very dark memory for her as well. In 2009, the National Enquirer also traveled to Blanco, Texas, to interview Shelley. There were reports from a lot of local residents saying that she was walking through the streets, looking disheveled and out of place and muttering, talking about reports of like aliens, thinking that aliens were in her body, and aliens were trying to invade and contact her. She said there was like a hole in her backyard, and she went to the store and got dirt and boards. She went to board it up because she said it was a portal to another dimension. These were, however, more remarked as tabloid and have not been confirmed. And in 2010, the Mondo Film and Video Guide had an interview with her to kind of put these rumors to rest. And in it, she was very coherent and spoke very normally and was not showing any signs of mental illness. Based on these characteristics that Shelley has portrayed of false beliefs and delusions, false perceptions and hallucinations, catatonic based on the characteristics portrayed by Shelley, such as bizarre behaviors, delusions, hallucinations, muttering and not being able to form coherent sentences, and walking around with altered motor behavior. I believe that the disorder that Shelley has is schizophrenia. So after going on the Dr. Phil show, she was offered on numerous occasions. I don't really know exactly how legitimate this is, but Dr. Phil or the officials for Dr. Phil have said that they have offered a lot of help to Shelley, wanting to take her to get evaluated and see what kind of things it can do to help. But every time Shelley has declined, and Shelley did say this in interviews after that she declined and just wanted to forget the entire thing and did not want to talk to Dr. Phil or the team at all. Because Shelley has declined further help from Dr. Phil and his team, we do not know if she has sought out further help. However, I think that if I were to provide help, I would kind of see I think that her case has a lot of similarities to what we saw of John Nash in A Beautiful Mind. And I know that John Nash was able to stop seeing his schizophrenic hallucinations when he was taking antipsychotic medication. However, antipsychotic medication has its own negative side effects with really taking all the emotion out of someone. So I don't know if that would be necessary for Shelley, because Shelley has not seemed to have any aggressive behavior. She does go out sometimes, and it is seen that locals have just kind of like observed her behavior and seen it as odd. Nothing extreme, but kind of like, I guess, they just kind of like work around it, I think. If not antipsychotic medication, I think Shelley would benefit from having some kind of a caretaker or someone around that can ensure that she is safe, looked after, and doing all right, because I don't think that she is capable of taking care of herself. I think that Shelley is also doing a very good job of finding a place that she finds comfortable, trying to avoid stress and the stressful lifestyle that she was living before, kind of finding what makes her happy and keeping her in a good headspace is doing well. As long as, I think it would help if she would just continue to have regular doctor appointments, take her medications, whichever ones work and make her feel good also, and avoid alcohol and drugs. Again, my name is Dr. Leo Truex. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk on Shelley Duvall. I hope you have learned something, and thank you for this whole class. It was so much fun. Even though it was just a semester, it was like the best. I hope you have an amazing summer and continued beyond that happiness. Thank you so much. Bye.